Hey creatives, and welcome to Cinema Sunday. If we have never met before, my name's Kim and I'm a creative freelancer with a passion for film and the written word. And if we have met, welcome back. And on today's Cinema Sunday, we're talking Hayao Miyazaki. I hope I said that right. I think it's pretty close. Let's get started. Alright guys, so have you ever heard of Hayao Miyazaki? That would be my question of the day. Put it down in the comments below, let me know. And if so, what is your favorite film? If you haven't, I'm gonna give you the top 5 films that I think you should see that will introduce you to the world of Miyazaki, which is a fantastic world. He is, to me, the epitome of Japanese animation. Just the art is breathtaking, the stories are fun and inventive, they all have like a meaning behind them, and we'll go through each one individually and I'll explain to you why I think they are so fantastic. But let's talk about Hayao Miyazaki a little bit. Just a quick little rundown bio so you kind of get to know the creator behind the works we're going to discuss. So Hayao Miyazaki was, of course, born in Japan in the 40s, 1941 I think to be exact. He loved Japanese cartoons and manga from a very early age. So much so that he went on and found one of the premier Japanese animation studios, and that is Studio Ghibli, which is remarkable. And the movies that I talk about, you're gonna know them when you hear them, even if you don't know that you've seen a Miyazaki film. So he went on to do that. However, he graduated university with a degree in, I want to say, political science and economics. So not really in the field that he had a passion for. And I think sometimes us creatives do that, but that's a whole different video that we'll discuss on another day. Today, we're talking Miyazaki and we're talking the 5 films. And so that's kind of a little bio on him. There will be further workup on my blog, and I do a whole bunch of other great content on my blog. So if you're interested, I will link in the description below to my blog, Only My Opinion, and you guys can head over and check it out. But wait, not before you hear the 5 movies. Like, that's important. You know what? Let's go ahead and start with the 5. We're gonna break them down, and of course, like usual, I'm gonna go backwards and work my way to my number 1 movie, which, by the way, is the first legitimate full-length animation from Japan that I ever saw, and that's part of the reason why it's number 1, on top of so many other things. So let's go ahead and start. So number 5 is Castle in the Sky, 1986. Basic plot line is 2 kids who have a magical crystal go on an adventure to try to find this famous floating castle, but they're chased by all kinds of bad guys. Really cool, kind of a, for lack of a better term, I'll say coming of age movie. The reason that I love this film is that it's just a fun story, and a lot of his stuff has really great character development, and you find yourself identifying with each character for different reasons, and I think that's super important. Honestly, even the bad guys, you'll be like, oh, okay. There's such heart in the stories that he does. It's just outstanding, and this is one of his first full-length films. His very first film, Cogliestro, I never remember the whole title. I liked it, it was good, but I like this one more. It's just a little bit more fun, but I do highly suggest you see, as I always do, his very first film. So that's Castle in the Sky. It was 1986. The artwork is ridiculous. It's outstanding. I can't say enough about Miyazaki. And honestly, all 5 of these, the artwork and the story and the character construction, those are main reasons why they are all on my list. So let's just go ahead and keep going. So number 4 is 2001 Spirited Away. This movie, it's good for everyone, but I think for young girls, it's super poignant, because this young girl, after moving, finds her way into this magical world where there's magic and witches and gods and all this stuff, and all the humans are turned into beasts. Like, it's just this really imaginative world that envelops you, and there's a lot of like very poignant, identifiable pieces in all the characters, much like I said with all of his films. The artwork is outstanding. It's just a fun watch. There's humor in it. In all these movies, you're gonna find yourself laughing. I cry, so don't judge me. Do not judge me. I know you cry too. We all cry. And so it's just a really heartfelt film. I think it's probably one of his better known ones, which is sad because some of the other ones on this list, like Castle in the Sky, like my number 1, that maybe aren't as known, are actually far better in some aspects. And so I would check it out. Spirited Away, like I said, it's really great for young kids to watch. It encourages imagination. I think that's one of the things I love about Miyazaki, is that though there are deeper underlying stories, it still is this world where your child can go in and have this very imaginative experience. So number 3, and this is yet another one of his more well-known one, is 1997's Princess Mononoke. This is honestly, this is probably his most heavy-handed message in any of his stories. That's my opinion, of course, because because what Princess Mononoke is there's this village kid who goes out to find a cure for a disease that's affecting people in the midst of a war between the forest gods and a mining colony. So honestly, just with that sentence alone, you know that this is very much an environmental message, and a message that definitely needs to be done. And once again, like, I could go on a whole tirade about that, but that's not what this channel's about. We'll do that on another day, at another time, another channel, another place. But it's probably the most heavy-handed message. The message is actually prevalent in a lot of his movies, and he is very vocal about that. And another thing is that there's actually a couple different levels, right? So it's also, not only is it a war for the environment, but it's also a war between like the old world and the new world. I think that's another underlying story. But I feel what I took from it was much more about the environmental issues. But there's characters in it that you grow to love and identify with again, and there's tears to be shed, and there's humorous parts, and there's like parts where you're angry. These films pull so much emotion out of you, and they're animated. Like, I think that the voice acting in all of them is fantastic. It's amazing. So check out Princess Mononoke, especially if you are into like environmental anything. This is a great way to talk about the dichotomy of the old world and the new world, and what the new world is doing to the old world and destroying the world and all that kind of stuff. So that leads me to number 2. And number 2 for me is there because I think it's probably one of the funniest ones. That's my opinion. I find a lot of humor in it, and that is Howl's Moving Castle 2004, and it's just amazing. So the story is basically about a young woman who gets turned into an old woman and wants to reverse the curse, so she has to find this wizard who lives in a castle that's consistently moving. The thing about this is the underlying message is very clear, and the underlying message is that beauty is not what you see on the outside, it comes from within. And I think right now, in this day and age, I think that's a super important message. On top of the fact, it is funny and it is heartwarming, and there's parts where you cry. Like, once again, like it stirs all your emotions, but the underlying message is such a good message. I can't tell you enough that this movie is fantastic. Honestly, I can't tell you enough that any Miyazaki film, it was hard to come with these 5 films. It was ridiculously hard to narrow down his work to 5 films that I thought were the best. And so a lot of the time what won out was things that I had emotional connection with, which is why number 1 is so sentimental to me. I remember watching it on HBO for the very first time, and I recorded it on Betamax. For you guys that don't know what that is, that was like pre-VHS, kind of with VHS. I recorded it off of HBO on my Betamax, and I would sit there hour after hour and watch it over and over again. It was my very first like full-length Japanese animation. I had probably seen some other Japanese animation before. I was really into Voltron. I was really into like Robotech and that kind of stuff. So I had seen like cartoon, but I hadn't seen a movie, and this movie impacted me so much. Like, I searched for it for years afterwards. I bought it on VHS. I find it anywhere I can, and I will watch it. If I see it is on, or I see it is streaming, or someone else is like watching it, I will literally peer over their shoulder and watch it. This movie is so a part of who I am. It's amazing. And the movie, I'm rambling because it's fantastic. And the movie is Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Now, when I saw it, I want to say it was just called Valley, like maybe it was originally titled Warriors of the Wind or Valley of the Wind. I don't remember seeing the Nausicaa part at the beginning, but that is the full title, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. And it's 1984, so that kind of tells you how long ago it was. I think I actually saw it like in 85, and it really just ignited my love for animation. And so it's once again, the story is so poignant. So the story goes like this. Like, there's a warrior who's also like a pacifist, which is in and of itself like this weird dichotomy. But I think if you talk to a lot of soldiers, they would rather have peace. So it's not as strange as you think. So she is in the middle of these 2 warring nations. They're gonna rip the world apart. She has to try to find a way to fight and save the world. It's super empowering because of the lead character. There's poignance between, like, you know, there is so much to say about this film. Let me collect my thoughts for a second. So I'm gonna focus because I could go on hours about this movie. So the big things I think about this film is there is a strong message of environmental protection. as like I said, in a lot of his movies. And so the base storyline is amazing. It's very empowering because it has, you know, this princess as the lead character for a young girl that seeing this strong who saves everybody, or does she? I'm not trying to spoil the movie for you. It is amazing. And the characters once again are super impactful. There's identifiable with everyone. You can see everybody's viewpoint and you pick a side. In the end, you pick a side. My side was always with Nausicaa. Let's just like, you know, make this as peaceful as possible. The pacing is good. The imagery is fantastic. The story is amazing. Honestly, if you had to see any Miyazaki film, and I know that there's gonna be people that disagree with me, but like Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind is, I just implore you, go see it. Stream it, watch it. It is amazing. And like I said, the reason it is number one, not only because it is fantastic, is because it really holds a special place in my heart. Like, tell me guys, like, you know, now that I'm thinking about how I'm even tearing up, like how impactful that movie was to me. Tell me, like, what was your first impactful movie? And it doesn't have to be animation, but if it is, like, which one and why was it so impactful for you? Leave me in the comments below. I'm really intrigued. I think it says a lot about how you become a movie viewer or a film goer, the films that impact you. And how it affects your creativity. You know, I don't think I would be as much into anime if I hadn't seen that film. I really don't think so. That film like really affected me. So I'd love to know what movie affected you in that way. Go ahead and leave me in the comments below. And guys, that's my top 5 Miyazaki films. Honestly, go out, see any of his stuff, but if you have to see just 5, see these. And if you like the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you're digging on Cinema Sunday, hit that subscribe button. I do a lot of great content on the channel. And also check out down below my link to my blog. There's a lot more content over there about film and the written word. And guys, I'll link to everything below as well. All the movies I talked about, those will be affiliate links. Thank you ahead of time for supporting the channel. And that's it, creatives. Until next time, safe journeys.